Dying Light is an amazing zombie parkour first-person dropkick simulator. It's beautiful to look at, movement feels like what I assume a parent's love would feel like, and more than anything else, it's just a lot of fun. Mostly, if you don't make a lot of noise, you're gonna be alright. And that sweet parkour system? Totally optional, you don't even really need to worry about it too much. Look at how slow these guys are. Runners are annoying, yeah, but we're typically not in any real danger unless we get totally overwhelmed. Living in this world, exploring, scavenging, and killing slow, dumb zombies, Dying Light's a good time. At least during the day. At night, it becomes a different game. It controls the same, in theory the basics are all the same, but when the sun sets, your watch beeps and the last call comes in over the radio, it's, you know what? Maybe this time it'd be better if I just show you. When night falls over the city of Haran, volatiles, huge, terrifying, mutant, zombie, predator-faced freaks descend with it. They are faster than you, even if you're not bad at the movement system. They are stronger than you, and there are dozens of them everywhere. You'd be lucky to shoot one to death with a gun. You and your table leg you got from the quartermaster are about to get boned. They see through a Metal Gear Solid vision cone, and if you dare trespass upon it, disrupting their vigilant patrol, every single one is coming for you. This gets more manageable as the game goes on, but it's never easy to deal with. Even around 120 hours in, I have never been comfortable during a pursuit. Not even close. Unless I'm right next to a safe zone, then I like burning them with my flashlight and then running away real quick. I've seen at least one review say the day-night cycle being so dynamic, one side a fun hack-and-slash gymnastics crafting game and the other a genuine nightmare can disincentivize ever going out at night. I couldn't possibly disagree more. It gives the game an actual sense of time. It gives me one more thing to think about to plan my adventure around, and I never once didn't love the little oh shit moment when your watch starts beeping, screams echo in the distance, and there are no safe zones in sight. It makes us vulnerable again, which in a zombie survival game I really believe I should be. Now it matters if I've paid attention to traversal, now it matters if I have any semblance of an agility stat, now it matters if I make noise. And I mean really matters, because to fail here is to be caught, and to be caught is to die, and to die is to lose the survivor points I'm risking my biscuit for to begin with. On the good old PS4, jumping, moving, and navigating this way feels weird. And not just like I'm competing on Mount Midoriyama against Makoto Nagano, that's a deep Ninja Warrior reference. I mean it feels weird in a really satisfying video gamey sort of a way. We jump with R1, which I really disliked at first, and there's probably a way to switch it, but I didn't, and I'm so glad I made the right choice. My first impression couldn't have been more wrong, it's an excellent jump button. Another contributing factor is definitely the first-person camera. I've never experienced movement like this in any other first-person game. Titanfall 2 and Mirror's Edge look cool, but I've yet to delve into those, and Far Cry does a great job, specifically with towers in 3 and 4, but this is on a whole other level. Controls aren't overcomplicated, yet I still experienced a bit of a learning curve. After a while though, once you get used to it, you get your timing down, and everything clicks into place, you're hooked. Grappling hooked. That was my segue into talking about the grappling hook. Halo Infinite read Dying Light's homework, and then hired a professional to doctor it up before handing it in over 6 years later. Much like in Halo, Dying Light features a science fiction grappling hook. Might as well be from Attack on Titan, it's completely unrealistic. And it also might be the best thing this game could have possibly done to improve already excellent traversal. It works contextually, sticking to almost any object within range, but not always, and not everything. It's incredible how free you are to use this, however and wherever you want to, save for a few story missions. When you unlock the grappling hook, you finally feel like it's possible to escape a volatile without all the terror and death. You can get across the enormous map far faster, avoid lethal falls, and like a lot of other things in Dying Light, it's just genuinely fun. I know I mentioned earlier you could use a gun, but guns are increasingly uncommon within the quarantine zone, until you get to a higher level and can just buy them. There are lots of different varieties of firearm, but sadly gunplay feels super off. It's far from the best first-person shooter, but this isn't really a shooter at all. Guns are too loud most of the time anyway, you wind up infested with runners during the day, and at night you get... So the vast majority of combat, at least in my experience, was melee-based. I'd say it's about 50% apocalyptic weaponry like swords, machetes, or other improvised zombie harvesting devices, and 50% straight-up drop kicks to the chest. I have died going for the drop kick, and I will die going for it again without hesitation. Bludgeoning a zombie in the noggin with a cricket bat or chopping their head off with an electrified machete feels pretty good. Close combat could definitely use an upgrade, and we need to be able to block like the enemies do. That shit's ridiculous, by the way. Look at this freak. Nice, man. You're a goddamn shinobi. As you progress in skill level by striking and killing more enemies, you're afforded even more creative opportunities, both in the world around you and in your increasingly vast arsenal. That freedom, like what I said about movement, is the best part of combat as well. That I can solve most of my problems in this game however I want to, whether that problem's a zomboni, some jerk wants to shoot me, or getting through a very likely dead guy's house quickly. And then of course you can forget about all that stuff and kick a walking corpse in the chest with both feet. I genuinely no longer believe it is I, the player, who chooses to dropkick the zombies. I find myself possessed by the spirit of a maniac, and that lunatic's name is Kyle Crane. Not since Jedi Outcast have I shared the first name of a video game protagonist, and I plan to relish in this as long as I can. He's not a terribly complex character, but he is a Troy Baker sounding not Troy Baker. It confused the shit out of me for a while. Crane is a man of questionable morality and unquestionable courage. He's also urgently compelled to dropkick everything and everyone he possibly can. Zombies, humans, scarecrows, your mom. He's not a lone survivor. There are also a few promising side characters who never really go anywhere, interesting side quest lines that never really go anywhere, and a full story with great looking cutscenes that never really goes anywhere. I can definitely understand why this game got overlooked initially. The ending in particular is mighty disappointing. It was never crazy intriguing, and it was tough to feel invested in these characters. I never really feel immersed either. Well, except for when... It still earns a strong place in the zombie game genre as a whole. The parkour first-person thing, open world, combat, and original day-night cycle all absolutely accomplish that, but even more so for the little things. Like how this rabies-based virus is harmed by UV light. The more infected they are, the more damage it does to the creeps. How runners, being the most recently turned, are more formidable, faster, more durable, but it also means occasionally they cower and beg for you to stop hurting them. No. Then of course you have to squash their brains like a grape. The more crafty, scavenging elements throughout the game are cool, but now in 2022 they just remind me of other games that did the same thing better. Hell, even Days Gone did it better. Speaking of Days Gone, the following DLC's introduction of vehicles, and with it the need to loot so that we can repair said vehicle or fill it with fuel, is exactly how you make this work. It gives me an actual reason to stop, get out, and look around that doesn't feel like a time sink. Superior level design also helps Dying Light stand out from its contemporaries. As I've said, and you can likely see throughout this video, most of the game takes place in two distinct open worlds. The Slums, a tropical, rusty, Assassin's Creed-like city, and Old Town, a more apparently wealthy, aesthetically completely different, also very Assassin's Creed-like city. Buildings are often close enough together to be easily jumped to. If not, you'll likely find the developers built in some seemingly innocuous object you could leap to instead. Or in the case of the following, which by the way gives you a third massive map, we face the exact opposite. A huge open world as stretched out horizontally as the other two are packed in vertically. Hence the need for those repairable vehicles. I always appreciate when a game blends a traversable, fun video game world with a believable environment, and all three maps are excellent examples of that. Not to mention how much I love any tropical setting, occasional thunderstorms included. It's easy with so much here to love, beautiful graphics, online co-op so you can murder zombies with your nephew, terrible characters like Tolga and Fatine, to get distracted and not see this game for what it really, truly is. An RPG. Think about it. We're forced to play as Kyle Crane, a singular character. You get experience from performing activities, you even level up. You have an agility stat, skill trees, crafting. I don't know how I never saw it before. Ouch, dude. That didn't feel very RPG-like. But it's not a horror game or really a survival game either. It's not a first-person shooter. Not entirely. I guess it doesn't matter what we call it as long as we think it's a good game. And I most certainly do. It's not perfect. Human enemies sorta suck. Runners completely suck. And dialogue, you guessed it, sucks. There is a lot here that could use a lot of work in a lot of ways, but I know most of it's going to be fixed by Dying Light 2. I know this because of how well they supported the first game. There were annual Halloween events where volatiles have silly pumpkin heads, extra game modes where you play as a zombie and invade my game and kill me, and even DLC that actually matters. And I don't just mean the huge new area or driving mechanic, the story in the following is a huge improvement over the base game in every way. We even get to choose how it ends. With them putting in all that work for the last 7 years, since 2015 now, I have no doubt whatsoever they busted their asses making Dying Light 2. At this point I'd be shocked if it wasn't a massive step up from the first game. Which, by the way, is now my favorite zombie game since The Last of Us. I adore it. I'm gonna miss Huron. Even this many hours in, I wish I'd found this game so much sooner. You could say then just play it again, but I know realistically I won't have time to. I've been playing and recording it for months now in between other games, trying to put off making this video as long as possible, but sequel's out in a couple days. Time's up. Dying Light is still an amazing zombie parkour first-person dropkick simulator. I still highly recommend it for context in the next one, historical posterity, and because it's a good time. Story's bad, but whatever, it does a lot of things right. I can't wait for Dying Light 2, to see this new world, and most of all, to dropkick hundreds of dead people in it.